bad.
Yeah, we'll take it. 6.5.
7, 6.5, 7. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. Spring is
Yes.
in full swing. The calendar flipped to March, and us farmers remember that we farm now.
Yeah.
And it's been absolute mayhem. We're March, April, somewhere in there. I don't know. I don't even remember what it is now. When this comes out, it'll probably be a little bit after that. But man, we went from negative 20 to 80 degrees, just like that. And everything's greening up. Weeds, wheats. People are getting ready to plant.
Yes.
Fertility, man, stuff's flying out all over the place. It's a wild ride. It's been a wild ride, but man, do you think it's gonna be dry this year?
I always assume the worst plan for, it's just the nature of the beast, right? I mean, and
How much credit do you give to the models? The drought models and all this and that, and the European models.
yeah, I mean, I kind of take it. I mean, pretty soon you get all this information. There's so much noise that you just forget about it, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there is some truth to the models that give you ideas. I mean, I know there's companies out there that say they bat like 85% of the time, pay their membership fee, so on and so forth. And I'm actually looking into doing that this year for my for my agronomy operation.
Sure.
Just to see how close it is, and there's probably some truths there, and being able to predict a El Nino or La Nina, or I shouldn't say predict, but get some data to back,
Factor it in.
I think that does play a huge part, definitely in your dryland situations.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm sitting here trying to think. We've got a YouTube series that's I don't know. Part of it's dropped, all of it's dropped. We're going to do a release. We're going to do a release of nutrients, going over. Well, you said all of them. I'm sitting there grilling steaks tonight, and I hear "We are amazing" yelling from the field behind the house. And Kirk and Johnny come back, and they're like, "We did them all the nutrients."
Well, and it was just exciting to talk about each individual nutrient, and just some little clarity there. Those videos. They're shorts, and the reason why is I was trying to provide as much information I could within 2 minutes that I felt was the most beneficial. So if you only have 10 minutes, you can hit 5 nutrients and get it done. I mean, and is there a lot more behind the scenes with these videos? Yeah, but it's a start. Hopefully it starts intriguing interest, and keep listening to the podcast to gain more.
The podcast, and we're working on some other stuff in the future.
Yes,
for resources for farmers, people interested. Anyway, yeah. Kurt, do we know the schedule when those are gonna? Is it one a week? Isn't that going to be one a week, something like that, on the YouTube channel for the most part? Okay. Yeah. Whatever platform the nerds decide to dispose of it on.
Yeah, I just talked. That's my part of it. So there we go.
We're thankful.
Yeah.
So that leads us to a YouTube series, a 4-part YouTube series that we are doing on the Singular Agronomics YouTube channel, where you and I, now we have talked, dude, since the beginning, the founding of Singular. We talked about saving costs, maximizing ROI, and which, it's at this point, we're just about beating a dead horse. What company isn't saying grow more with less this year?
Oh, 100%.
Every company's saying it.
Back to the basics.
We've been saying it for like, why don't we just do that every year?
Yep.
But we do, there are still, I think there's a lot of farmers out there that still want to really push the needle in certain areas, specific fields, so on and so forth, have different goals. And we haven't really done a whole lot to cater to, I don't want to say those guys, but that kind of thinking, that train of thought. We've really done a lot of talking and work in regards to how can, in a lower market, because we've been in, real volatile markets, how can we ensure or do the best job that we can to ensure a profit, this growing year, so that we can the farm can sustain and continue on.
Yes.
How can we afford to farm another year, not is the bank going to let me farm another year? And so the YouTube series that we're going to drop is you and me working together, student, teacher. Absolutely me, student. Johnny is the teacher. And we're going to take you'll hear me say the cabin field. And that's the one that raised our farm record wheat with, no applied nitrogen based on, we had talked about this a lot in the past on previous podcasts. Yeah. And it was not like, oh, I did this, woohoo. It was became a student of the field and let the field say, this is what you have. This is what you can do. This is what is needed at such time. And literally just applying based off of those tests. And so that was wheat, and then it raised really good double crop beans. Now it's strip tilled. We're going to do corn. And I raised, so we've heard a lot about being very conservative on the farm or, maximizing ROI. This series is going to be specific, not about pinching pennies on one field. It's 30 acres.
Okay.
And, now our goal is to max, like really redline the needle on yield and not be like, hey, this has no budget, but we've got some, we're willing to invest in this. If we need to do this, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so the current record on this field, I've done the NCJ for a while, is 239.
Okay.
That was my contest entry on the one zone. The entire field average, I believe it was 203.
Okay.
Best corn we've ever raised. The next was 201. Our average, dude, I mean, we're in an area of Kansas, just to give some people, we got a lot of new listeners.
Yes.
What does Pretzer personally, I mean, dude, I've cut 20 bushel corn. I've cut 240 bushel corn. Our county average, I think, is hovering right around 100, 105.
Okay. So
that kind of gives a little context of what we're working with here. A lot of corn around here. If you're 130 to 150, that's a pretty good year. That's a pretty darn good year. So we can, in this series, we're going to talk about rainfall. We're going to talk about, we can talk about past soil testing. We're going to do current soil testing. We're going to go through nutrients. We're going to go through some populations. It's kind of the ideas that roll through my head. Fertility plans, what's enough, what's too much, what do we want to push this? And then in-season applications, and then we're going to look at the plants. We're going to do, probably sap tests, tissue tests. We're going to continue to do Haney's in the ground and watch what the ground is doing. So I'm really excited because, I've been taught a lot by other people in this field and now really take it to the next level and really learn more. And then we can take that information and help guys not be like ridiculous with money, but if a guy really wants to be intentional with something, what's kind of a base plan? Now, obviously, different regions are going to be different, but as much as we can make this relatable, that's the goal.
Well, and it goes back to like what you were saying. This is 30 acres. Hopefully we're able to come up with principles or concepts that are able to spread across an operation.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be able to do that on every one of your acres, right? But hopefully we can develop a principle that we can provide truth with through data and say, no, how can we take some of these truths and implement it across the whole operation? Yeah. That's how I see it. So you're using 30 acres of your operation to help figure out what is that next step or what we can do to get to that next step. Yeah. And that's the part I'm probably most excited about is not only, if we do it, fantastic, right? But it's going to go back to, out of everything we did, maybe what was the thing we felt did the most good?
Sure. In 2023, I had corn there. I was shooting for 250. I made 129.
Okay.
It was a dry year.
Yep.
It was drought. absolute drought. You know, now, did I have everything there that I thought would push us to, you know, high end yield? Yeah.
Yep.
What was my yield limiting factor? Water.
Water.
It was water.
Yep.
Water, hot, windy days, no rain for a long, I think 40 some days with no rain. And I think half those were over 100 degrees.
Well, and I think, you know, thinking about weather and that factor, like there's so much truth, and it's what stinks for most operations is you have at least 95%, if not 90% of your inputs in when that weather stress is really hitting you. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's going to be a curveball, and that's going to be something we'll have to talk about. Like, I understand we want to push, but if there's a time to pull the plug, we got to pull the plug.
Yeah.
When it comes to the economics of it.
Yep.
Or I'll say, Pretzer, give me 5 acres.
Sure.
Let me do whatever I want on 5 acres here
Right.
to see if we can turn something around. But that's what I'm excited about is hopefully we can figure out theories or principles, which I don't know why this is hitting my head right now. But one thing I try to do is I have a notebook of every year, kind of like what happened here locally, like in central Nebraska, rainfall wise, stuff like that. Not any year is going to replicate itself, but there's years that rhyme per se. And what are things I thought was successful or things that I thought maybe set us back, you know, and just having that own little notebook, little Johnny Ferentz diary of practices, weather conditions, stuff like that to help me guide decisions in future years.
Sure. Well, and I think, dude, I'm telling you, I was talking to Eric. I think I was talking to Eric the other day. It's so hard to pull the plug on a field when you've put so much into it, financially, time, thought, stress, effort, because, you know, we as farmers, dude, we don't want to see a crop fail.
No.
We don't want to see it hurting, dude. That year, that 2023, we were so droughty, dude. It was so droughty, and my wife was like, "We got to get out of here." Like she was watching my mental decline.
Yeah.
Like every day, I was getting in a darker and darker place because the corn was pineappling and turning blue and then white. And we just went on vacation for a week, and I came back, and it was so good because I came back and it was like re-zeroed me. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I will farm another year. We'll be okay. You know, but, you know, and that's, I got to give the guys in the West so much credit. They know when to pull the plug.
Yes.
We're here.
Yep.
Nothing we can apply will save this crop.
Yep.
Nothing. And dude, that is so admirable because it's so hard to do.
Yeah.
Because we want to now. Are there things we can do to mitigate stress? Yeah, you know, we've got us, you know, working with Kurt Livesey and a silica product. You know, we've got you know, plant hormones. We've got other things. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're doing this year that and have done in the past that really is a good package to mitigate. But as dude, this is such a good thing for me to hear going into this year. We don't raise yield. We reduce loss.
Yes.
We start at this much, but so high potential, and what takes steps down. Ben always said, you know, in a perfect world, a cornfield could probably hit 1,000 bushel an acre.
Yeah.
If literally every element was perfect, every single element. You know, light, fertility, microbiology, everything
beautiful.
perfect. Now, you know, weather. What does weather take? Hundreds of bushels. What does disease take? X amount of bushels. What does, you know, so on and so forth. Planter issues. What does herbicide? What does, you know, deer damage, insects, etc.
Yep.
What knocks it all the way down to when the combine goes across the field, and that is the line of, you know, this is where we stopped losing from the top.
Yep.
And that's such a great thought. Instead of, hey, can we add yield? Let's stop the reduction of yield.
Yes.
Oh, that's rung so true in my head.
Well, and you talked about, you know, all these different products. I mean, and we just got done with the series of micronutrients. Like, I just think about if the plant is looking for a certain nutrient, it's going to keep pulling water until it finds it. You know, so it talks about, you know, how can we make sure that our plant's not using more water than it needs to. It's amazing what a balanced fertility plan does there, you know, and gosh, that's 100% true what you were saying with how to be more efficient, being so intentional with everything we do here to make sure that not only with the YouTube, but for Pretzer Farms, we are doing everything with logistics, agronomics, and economics in mind. You know, now one thing that we're going to be able to do is push on the agronomics more because we're doing 30 acres, pushing it more. Right. But I will be the first to say I'm not going to forget about the other two.
No.
Because you can't.
Right. Because then if you just push to an absurd level, then you throw learning out. All right, guys, we are dropping multiple mini-series on YouTube going over crop management, farm management, all kinds of stuff on the farm.
Yes.
Lots of information. Check it out. It's good stuff.
We'll see you there.
Yes.
Because then you take, okay, what can I learn from this, and then apply it to, you know, all my acres. You can't factor it in, because if you just go ballistic, just literally throwing darts at a wall, trying every single thing, you don't know what hits.
Yeah.
You really don't.
No.
And I think I'm really fortunate to be able to talk to so many people. The only, you know, great, smart people that I learned from, dude. The tough thing is remembering who it was that I talked to.
You know what? That's a darn good problem, Pretzer.
It's a great problem. And dude, there's so many good farmers, and there's so many good people out there that are working hard for agriculture to help farmers. And anyway, I don't remember what I was going to say, but
well, maybe can I stay on that point for a little bit?
yes.
You know, so we went to Commodity Classic, and gosh, we were there for what, 24 hours realistically.
Yeah.
And just looking back on how many good people we met.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was a breath of fresh air.
It was.
To see how many, I mean, the people that we talked to, just wanting to help agriculture move forward.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that everybody that we talked to,
There was a really cool vibe that there is a section of the industry that you could tell they're just doing their same old thing.
Yep.
And there's a section of the industry that's like everyone forward together.
Yes.
And that was so fun.
Yes.
That was so fun. It was an energy.
Yeah.
Like it was a vibe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. We met some great people. We just, the Mutiny crowd, they were great. Some of the guys at the BW Fusion booth, had great talks with them. Ran into, friends there. Kurt was there. The list goes on.
Well, I mean, I had a little fangirl moment. I saw Gary Zimmer. I mean, I've read his books. Been watching his YouTubes from
the guys at Midwestern BioAg.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, gosh dang, and he's the exact same as he is on YouTube videos. He talks so darn fast, just so everybody else knows.
Yeah.
He's the exact same person.
Yeah, his energy is like,
yeah.
I don't know how old he is. He's not young.
No.
But man, he was cranking.
But that was a cool experience, and it refreshed me to move or get going again. For this year 2025.
Gas in the tank. I came back. My wife and I took a getaway to quote the big city. Dude, we just went for a long walk in this nature preserve place, and we went out to dinner and just sat and visited and went and listened to live jazz music that night. And I came home. I was excited to farm when I came home. And I would if I told you I was stoked for the year before that, it wouldn't be true.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the year, but
I
came home like, let's freaking do this.
Yeah.
Let's freaking do this, man.
Well, and I think that's something just to keep in check. It doesn't matter if you're in agriculture or farming or on the service side. Like, we all know it's going to get crazy here. I mean, it's ticking down. Make sure your cup's full before you go into this season. Mm-hmm. If that's going and fishing, for a fish trip with the boys, if that's golfing, whatever it is.
Take your wife on a date. just take the family and just sit down. Just sit down and watch clouds go by for a little while.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Fill that cup up, because we all know once the time gets busy, that's if the cup's already half full.
Yeah.
By the end of it, it's not going to be too exciting per se.
No, because then we get back to some of the earlier podcasts. Why are we even doing this?
Yep.
Why are we even doing this? But no, so this is kind of the, I guess, the audio release of that series on YouTube that we're going to do. I'm so excited. I'm fangirling a little bit because I get Johnny to myself for a very small period of time. And dude, that red beard dude.
Yeah, that red beard dude
knows a pile about dirt.
Yeah.
And that was a YouTube comment, or knows a pile about soil.
Yeah.
And anyway, so no, I think I don't know. The goal is to make this as relatable as possible to people, because I want someone to see something that they recognize on their own operation and know that, hey, Pretzer and I don't farm the same dirt. Maybe we have different goals. Dude, there's going to be people that listen to this that a yield goal of 250 is very attainable with not redlining the needle.
I mean, yeah.
And that's totally okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to a grower on the drive down here. They said, I want to shoot for, 285 corn. Wow. I said, fantastic. I mean, let's look at your soil samples. We get a game plan, and I mean, it was under irrigation. Just a lot of situations were right, but, one of the first things they asked me is, what should I do for nitrogen? And this is the exact same answer I say every time. What's your APH?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do a pound per APH.
Yeah.
Start there.
I will pull my APH. I've got on my computer, so we can go through it in the field.
Well, and I think in your situation, we're going to take the high you ever got, and that would be our bar. We would never apply more than that.
Sure.
And we just got to make a decision if we wanted to split apply stuff like that, which we'll dive into that in the video. Don't get me wrong, but with this 30 acres, there'll probably be some tendencies that I wouldn't do on a field by field basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah, we're going to really get down in the weeds because we've had people ask, hey, can you go into further detail? Even if it's not, if I can't, if this isn't, copy paste to my operation, I think there's things that we can learn. But that's our goal, is to, just make this as relatable as possible and be a fun story to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I'm excited for it. I'm going to be a nervous wreck when I'm planting it or spraying it, because it's going to be on YouTube for everyone to see. This is the field. This is the field I sprayed dicamba on at V5, V6. And I'm not kidding, Ben was quote, my coach then. That corn, I sprayed it and I walked back. It's across my house. I go up there and I walk across the bridge. That whole field's laying over. It's all laying over.
Yeah.
And I have to remember this. So the podcast is video on YouTube and Spotify, Kirk, and on Spotify, but a lot of guys listen just to the audio. So my hand is leaning over. The field is leaning. And I walked through the field. Anywhere my pants bumped a plant, it would break off.
Yeah.
I was so sick. I was literally sick to my stomach. And I told Ben, I said, I'm dead. He goes, you might be.
And if Ben says that,
you might be dead.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we are, it stood back up. We got some rain. It came out of it. That was the year it made 239.
So you're telling me that's all we need to do? Just go out there.
It's not worth it. It's not worth my stress, because I was so scared my dad was going to drive by and see that field. Yeah. My dad's retired, but I was so scared he's going to drive by and see that field and be like, what did you do? Which valid. Yeah, Dad, I laid a whole field of corn over.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to go through soil tests, and we're going to send up, we got past soil tests month by month, in spring into summer. We got Haney's, look at some key points there. We've been working I've been working on this field for a while. So don't think this is hey, this is a new field. This is one I've been working on the carbons with, humics, fulvics, sugars. Had worked a number of years to put cover crops in when it fit the rotation.
Yep.
Didn't do it every year. But anyway, and so really kind of lay that out so that guys can kind of paint this picture. And then pull fresh soil tests. We're going to go through things like that, things to look for. What can we really hone in on? And then I've got 2 or 3 years of tissue testing history.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So we can look at trend lines from the past and be like, hey, this is an issue that we, over the last 2 years, we've really struggled getting K and zinc in.
Okay.
So what's our plan of attack here? What's
Yep.
our plan? I've got info on the planner, so we can really focus a lot of things there. What are things that we've done to mitigate some of these things and improve? Then our foliar plans, etc. But anyway, knowing our yield limiting factors, 1, rain, 2, what does the plant and the soil tell us that it's going to be?
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Yeah. Dig holes and look at worms and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the YouTube series.
Yes.
Now what?
Well, talking about that, talking about companies and products, we've been blessed with being able to talk to a lot of companies. I mean, through my agronomy business. And, one of the biggest things that I get to definitely during the springtime of year, it's easy to say, well, just go try it. Right. Yeah. I think one thing to be asking, definitely representatives, dealers, something like that, or at least something that I've started doing that's helped me out a lot more, is asking, where do you win 95 to 100% of the time? Because then it tells me what situation best fits that.
Yeah.
I know like one product, it was actually a NutriCharge. Okay. Very good at getting phosphorus available. But I was talking to a rep and I was like, hey, where's the time that you've seen the most success with this product? And he's like, gosh dang, when you have those side hills that have very high pH, gosh, it's night and day different. So first off, okay, I'm glad he knows that information.
Yeah.
Right. And he's willing to share that with me. But then number 2, it says, okay, what's going on then?
Yeah.
So that NutriCharge is helping lower the pH of that zone.
Making phos more available.
But I mean, it's just it's nice and refreshing to ask those questions and have answers.
Sure.
And I'm not gonna lie, there's gonna be sometimes they say, we don't know, we want you to try.
Yeah.
And those are valid too, don't get me wrong. But that's one thing to start looking into those products, because I mean, you've said it times before that if you've tried every product that's supposed to add 5 bushels, we would already be at 500 bushel corn. So where does that best fit, or what are those situations that help Pretzer farms out when we go down this road?
Sure. Yeah. It's, just the study of pH. I was listening to the BW Fusion podcast on soil pH. Cropcast. Was it episode 16, I think? 16, I think it was.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Everyone should listen to that podcast.
Yes.
That wrecked my brain. The study of pH, like the whatever test to test pH was developed in 1920.
Something like that. Yep.
Yep. In the 1920s. And in the data, in the paper release says this can be widely varying and was established, I think it was in Wisconsin.
Okay.
If I remember right. Like I said, I spent a couple of days since I listened to it, and it's like there were so many subject to change. This is in this area. And then it was adopted everywhere.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Yep.
And then, the today's soil testing methods, a lot of them were developed in the 50s, 1950s.
Yep.
And, oh my gosh, man, we aren't using engines that were still developed in 1920. I mean, I guess kind of the base mod. We kind of are. We just really improved it since then.
Yeah.
We're not, there's so much that's changed. It's like the soil tests haven't evolved with time like everything else. Now we've got, laboratories have improved. There's some really good labs.
Oh, yes.
There's some great freaking labs out there. And so, I'm sending off water tests so that I can know, hey, how can I best adjust my spray solution to make the efficacy of my foliar applications and my herbicide applications more effective.
Yes.
And these things aren't taught in wide scale agriculture today. It's just throw AMS in. Why? Well, a lot of farmers don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to get mad again. I got mad when I listened to all that other stuff. I'm like, why did no one tell me this? No one's told me this.
Well, and I think right now in the industry, there is a big push of new information coming out.
Yeah.
And one thing with a big push of information, though, is there's theories and then there's proof.
Yeah.
You know, and every idea has to start with a theory, and I respect that.
Yes.
Okay, I respect that. But take that theory, take that concept, and prove it on your own acre.
Yeah. I like to ask companies, since we work with a bunch now or have a bunch that come to us wanting to, you know, hey, test this, trial that, we're interested in this, is where was your research data done? You know, was it done in 12 different states from Canada to Mexico? Was it done in the Pacific Northwest? Was it done in Florida?
Yeah.
You know, because, man, there's going to be wide variances here.
Yeah.
It goes back to what you said, where you see this work the best.
Yeah.
And, dude, by now, a farmer should be able to tell whether someone's blowing smoke or not.
Yeah.
If someone says it works everywhere,
Stop.
there's a couple things that do. There's a couple things that I do believe can work everywhere. You know, nitrogen. It works everywhere, you know? But outside of that, always be sure to ask good questions.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's even, like I said, we work heavily in the humics, fulvic, sugars, things of that, you know, the specialty plant hormone stuff. Not every one of those is best everywhere.
Yeah.
We're finding after lots of research and data and testing and talking to guys, farmers that we work with, hey, I saw this one actually worked a little better. They both worked.
Yep.
This one worked a little better.
Yep.
Great. Now we can, you know, speed the learning curve up for so many other people.
Yes.
And that's so great. It's so great. But anyway, I keep getting right to my soapbox. I have to keep pulling it back.
Tuning it down.
Tuning it down. Goose.
Goose.
Anyway, so is there anything else you'd like to talk on, Johnny?
Well, I'm just thinking of when this is going to be dropping, you know, prayers from the Singular family to you guys for a safe planting season.
Absolutely.
Application season. I mean, check both ways one more time.
Oh yeah.
You know, just those little things like, and I don't mean that in a corny way. Like I'm saying deep down. Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a dangerous season.
Mm-hmm.
It's a risky season. It's a very tough season. The agriculture is coming up on, just agronomically, mechanically, relationally, weatherly. I'm going to roll with that.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Tariffs are getting a huge talk right now. You know, the whole global situation right now of markets and countries and presidents and prime ministers and whatever. Oh my heavens, man. I was at the FSA office today signing up for ARC PLC, renewing contracts.
Yep.
They had a thing. They go, hey, are you aware of the LDP payments? I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are already talking about? Like, listen, I don't want to scare someone into like mass recession and 50-cent corn.
Yeah.
Don't think it can't happen. But they were talking about the quote loan rate according, in LDP and this and that. And it just really was kind of like a reality check. Like, you guys are talking about this? You see posters on their walls and whatever, but they're actually talking about this. And then there are people listening to this podcast that are like, LDP is a real thing.
Yep.
I've seen those payments.
Yep.
And, so don't tell yourself, oh, corn's going to $8, and live in that wish land. But I don't know. I've seen so many guys do such a good job. Garrett Ruskamp dropped a podcast.
Okay.
About Pioneer Mindset podcast. He dropped a podcast about, he did it with his insurance agent, making sure that you're paying attention to your elections, your coverage levels, making sure that your butt is covered, because insurance prices are okay.
Yep.
They're not amazing.
Yep.
But dude, I've seen way worse before.
Yep.
And he had his agent on and he talked about, hey, what are things that farmers are missing? What are things we can look at? How can we shore up what we know? What's the, what's the constant? What's the thing we can bet on? Well, your insurance is the starting point.
Yeah.
Now, if we have a global collapse and government shuts the doors, and we're screwed. But
we got bigger issues,
That's
bigger
right.
fish to fry there.
That's right. Absolutely. Anyway,
I did come up with a potential new idea for a podcast, Josh, and it just hit my head. And we don't have enough time today, but it just leads us for the next one.
dang it.
AI in agriculture.
Oh my gosh. It's coming. It's here. It's here, and a lot of people don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and how to properly utilize it, though, for your operation.
That's a great idea.
So that would be a great topic to do here before too long.
AI in agriculture.
Or at least agronomist views of AI so far. So.
You're right. We don't have time to cover that.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I don't think that's a bad spot to wrap up at.
I think it's a good spot.
Yeah. So this is really more of a news flash of the upcoming YouTube series. We got all the nutrient videos coming out, shorts, and we're going to do at the time this drops, we'll have a title for the series, but shooting for high yielding corn in a small area.
Yep.
And then seeing what we can do to swing the needle. And then building a plan and documenting that for literally everyone to watch. Prets are either, mass screw up or success or a combination of both. Generally, I have a combination of both. It's like, uh-oh, we're dead, to, okay, we're fine, to, we might be dead.
This will be fun.
It's going to be a great time. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. Anything? Oh, swag. Is this out? Is this hoodie out yet? If it's not, this will really push Aaron to get it out, because I just said it on the podcast. We got a new Singular hoodie, and so far it's like 9 out of 13 people's favorite. What? Oh, hats and beanies? Oh, man, the merch guy's been going crazy. What? Oh, okay. Hang on. If you're not watching this in video, do I show that camera? Is that good right there? Okay, so we got that, and then we got this beanie, which obviously Aaron designed it, which I don't know, but a lot of the guys like that, so that's cool. And then we got this. I really like this emblem. I really like that emblem. That's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry guys, merch rant. Available on the website, singularagronomics.com. Check it out.
Farm on.
In the words of Master Ryan Gibbs, farm on. See you guys.
Guys, thanks for watching the content so far. If you would like to see more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got all the full-length podcasts, other video information, tutorials on there. Also on all the major podcast platforms and social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. So if you like this, go ahead and check more out on all those platforms.